Hey, there we go. We are live. Welcome, everybody. What's up, Mikey? Nice to see you.
Hey, how are you? Okay.
Doing well, doing well. I'm Kyle Webster, everybody. I've been with some of you before. This is my first time hanging out with Mikey. We are just getting to know each other. We have a lot of similarities going on with our backgrounds and our locations. We are both expats. So,
Yeah.
Mikey, where are you right now?
Right now, I'm in the south of China, right across the water from Hong Kong. I'm in I would say little city. There's no such thing as little cities in China, but I'm in a city called Shenzhen. 15 million people, I think, here.
15 million is a small city.
Yeah.
Holy cow, that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm in the smaller part of Germany, and we are not 15 million. But yeah, I was in the United States. So yeah, I'm an expat. I really need to learn some German quickly. Whoops.
Mm.
I'll get around to it.
I won't judge you. My
All right.
Chinese is terrible. My Chinese is not good. Ni hao, ni hao, ni hao. 我很好.
很好,不好.
我很好.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. We are going to be today celebrating through design Black History Month with some influential figures that have inspired us, and we hope will inspire you as well. And we, of course, are going to have, as usual, some reference for you to work from. We have a challenge that has been designed by our good buddy Dom, and we'll call that up here. I'm going to look for the banners and make sure we have a nice link to that. I know that he's probably put it in there. Let's see, challenges, I think. Let's see. Actually, what I'll do is I'll pull up the link for you all right here, and then we can share that. So this is, today we're going to be working from template in Express, but I want to make sure that everyone knows that this is the kind of exercise where you have some creative freedom. And you'll notice that both Mikey and I are going to deviate a little bit from the template, okay? And so you can follow along with us and do it that way, or you can work from the straight up template. So let me just share my screen here for a moment. And there's Express. And I'm just going to share the link for everybody to Black History Month Challenge. Here we go. All right, so y'all should see this, and here is the link you need. Now, of course, there's a QR code, but if you're not working with an iPad or a phone or whatever, this is what you want to use. bit.ly/expressbhm. bit.ly/expressbhm. And here you're going to find a description of the Black History Month project we're going to work on. And for this live lesson, you're going to have the first challenge be a graphic design where we're going to have a photo of an influential figure from Black history. And with this person, you're going to also have a quote. All right. And of course, there are quotes that you can pull from using this document right here. There's a link to a document with the two individuals that were selected here, Rosa Parks and Benjamin Zephaniah. And for each of these people, you will find in this Google Doc that we've linked to some excellent information about each of them, as well as some quotes. And the design that you're going to work on is going to include a photo and a quote. Now, in the template, you're going to have one photo of each individual and one quote for each of them as well. And you'll see, though, that there are different ways to do this, which we'll demonstrate for you shortly. Now, the second part of the challenge is where we get into really fun stuff, where we do some animation and some video and even some audio. So, Mikey, that's going to be pretty fun for everybody. If you haven't done, right? If you haven't done video, it's so great. It makes it so easy in Express, and you can just really quickly add motion and add some real energy to your designs. We're going to do that.
And
so
really not difficult either, right? I think this is probably my third one now. I feel like I'm pretty confident. I might not have too many questions this time around. I'm going to try and keep up.
Super easy. There's nothing to it. At the very bottom of that document, you're also going to find some photos that you can use in the project. So if you want to follow along with us and not go searching online for photos of your own to use, we have photos for you right here, and they're excellent. Just right-click on any of these photos, and you'll be able to save the photo, okay? So you can right-click, save it to your computer, save it to your downloads folder, or wherever you like. And then in Express, you'll be able to access those photos and use them in the templates. Okay, so Mikey, did I forget anything?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. It seems like you've done this before.
Yeah, well, there's one important point I want to mention to everybody out there who's watching, and this is extremely important. We are going to move at a certain pace and we're going to go nice and slowly so you can follow along. But if at any time you feel like we need to pause for a moment and we need to collect ourselves and figure it out, don't worry. You can pause the video at any time. And when you hit play again, it'll pick up right where it was. Even though it's live, it is also recorded, right? So no pressure, pause at any moment and pick it up wherever you like. And don't forget, you can also watch these back anytime. They're not going to go away after the live stream.
I might need to do a little bit of pausing myself, to be honest with you.
All right. All right, then. Let's get rid of this here for now. And I'm just going to go ahead and share my Express screen to kick it off. And we'll explain what we're going to do as we go through it. All right. So I'll stop my share. And here we go.
All right. I'm going to make a start as well.
Off to the races. Here we are on the homepage of Express. This might look familiar to everybody, I hope. And what we're going to start with is a simple design in a square format. Okay. So today we're working with a square. Now, there are lots of ways we could go about doing this. We could use a social media post and we can select an Instagram square and things like that. But what I want to do is come over here and use the little plus sign right here, this little purple plus. And I'm just going to tap right here on square. Look how easy that is. One by one. It's the very first option. We just go for it. Tap right there. And boom, I am set to go. Now, the great thing about starting with a blank canvas is you don't have to feel intimidated in Express because you can use grids. So Mike, I don't know if you've used grids before, but they're really handy. They give you a way to divide up your panels, okay? And if you look over here on the left, we got your stuff, templates, media, etc. And then there's this option right here for grids. If I tap on that, holy cow, 40 different results. That's a lot. So you have all these different choices, okay? But what we're going to go for is something quite simple. We're just going to go for a simple 2 by 2 right here. So this is going to be only the, I believe, fifth option down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope, seventh option down. Right there it is. 2 by 2. And if I tap like that, it's going to place that grid with photos already in it. And those photos are placeholder photos, okay? Which means you can swap them out for other stuff. So I'm going to just drag that up into the corner. And you'll notice these little pink lines show up. And those are telling me that I'm snapping to the borders, the edges of my canvas. And now from here, I can just tap and drag until, again, snappity-doo-dah, we get a nice snap there and we're ready to go. Okay.
Snappity-doo-dah.
There you go. All right. Now, for each of these photos, if I double tap on any one of them, double click, double tap, it's going to select that individual photo. Okay. And there is a special option we have when you select a photo to replace an image with a different image. Okay. So first thing I want to do is I want to take this whole area here and I want to ungroup it. It's currently grouped, I believe. Let's see here. Oh, it's actually not grouped. No worries. Okay. I'll double tap on an image again. And Mikey, I thought I could swap it out, but it looks like it's giving me some trouble here. It seems like it's locked.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah. Maybe try clicking on the actual, just on the box maybe there.
I don't know.
Should be able to just swap it out.
Pretty sure I could do that. Yeah, but I don't see a way to do that. It tells me it's an image. It tells me I could resize it. I could do a whole bunch of things, but it doesn't seem to be able to swap out. And I think...
Oh, well, there it is.
Ah, interesting.
There it is.
All right, now I've got it. So this top left image, if you look over here, there's this handy little icon that says replace. And it looks like 4 pictures with arrows that are moving in a clockwise fashion. If I tap on that, I have a bunch of photos I could select from Express, but I can also use my own photos. So again, going back to that document that we prepared for all of you, if you want to use the photos we included for Rosa Parks and for Zachariah, you can do so, or you can upload from your device. So that's what I'm going to do. And I have this folder here with photos of 2 people who are massively inspirational for me. They are Christian Robinson, picture book author and artist, and Wynton Marsalis, very famous musician from New Orleans, jazz and classical. And I'm going to first work with Wynton Marsalis. Now, I have different photos. We can take a look at some of them. So I've got a full body photo of Wynton here, and then I've got this close up with the trumpet. Okay. I like both of them. I also have another shot of him sitting here with his trumpet, and another one here where he looks very serious, serious musician. All right. So I've got a bunch of options here. I think I'd like, first of all, to work with this one. Okay. So I'm just going to hit open, and look at that. It pops it right there into the corner. Okay.
Kyle, I'm going to tell you this now because I got picked on last time I did one of these by our wonderful host friend, Dom, who I'm sure you know very well. But
oh,
this
I know
has
what you're going to tell me.
saved me many times from a very messy workplace. You know what I'm going to say. You go ahead and do it.
Here it comes. You got to name your file, right? Look over here in the top left corner, untitled, and then the date and time. Now, that is not a great name for a file, is it?
Very confusing.
Mikey, I tell you, I'm the worst at this, and I'm so glad you called me out on it. Thank you. I really have a problem with this. So here we go. BHM, Black History Month. And I'll just put my name there, Kyle. And that's going to solve that problem. Now I've got a name that makes sense for my file. Should always do that first. Don't follow my lead, okay? All right, so we've got our photo of Wynton there. And now, like I said, you can follow the template. I'll quickly demonstrate what that template is, but then I might break out of that template. And I'm sure Mikey's going to do something extra creative and cool as well. So you have some cool options there. All right, so there's Wynton. Now over here, what I want to do in this little square is I want to put a quote. Okay, I do not want to use a photo. I want to put some text in there. So I'm just going to delete that photo. It's gone, okay? And over here, I've got my text tool. So if I tap on that, you have a bunch of options for text that's already set in certain kinds of designs and certain kinds of layouts. But I'm just going to add text right here on my, and if I tap once off of the text and then tap on it and drag, I can reposition that text. So my text is going to live right here. And what I want to do is use a quote from Wynton Marsalis. And he said many, many wonderful things about making connections between the power of music and how we interact with one another as human beings of all races and creeds and colors. And he is really seeing the big picture, and I love hearing him talk on the topic. I do have a few quotes of Wynton Marsalis's that I'm going to use, and I'll read them out to you just because they're so inspirational. Here's one. Jazz means working things out musically with other people. You have to listen to other musicians and play with them, even if you don't agree with what they're playing. It teaches you the very opposite of racism and anti-Semitism. It teaches you that the world is big enough to accommodate us all. I think that's a great quote. And the other one I like from him is, how great musicians demonstrate a mutual respect and trust on the bandstand can alter your outlook on the world and enrich every aspect of your life, understanding what it means to be a global citizen in the most modern sense. Both really nice quotes. So I'm just going to grab these. Here we go. And I'm going to use that first one, that jazz one. I've copied it. And here I'm going to paste it in. Now, before I do paste it, because it's longer than what's shown here, I definitely want to use something with a smaller font. So let's do that. Right here, I can just select different sizes, and I think I'll go with 60 for now. And that might still be a little big, but I'm going to select my text and hit Command V or Control V, which means I'm pasting. Now look at all that text. There we go. That's a lot, right? So I'll start by selecting it all right, and making it smaller, but then I'm going to use something special in Express, which is dynamic text. And you'll see what that is in just a moment here. So let's go ahead and make it about 30. And here we go. We're going to use dynamic text. If you look over here at text layout, I'm going to select dynamic. Now watch what happens when I drag the corners. See how the text adjusts itself to look really lovely. Okay. Very nice. I can adjust it however I like, and I can just place it right there. All right, that looks pretty nice. And then here I would put a name for Wynton Marsalis because he is the genius of a man who said all this. So I'll pause for a moment. You see where we're going with this, okay? Photo, quote, and then over here I'm going to use a Christian Robinson photo and a quote over here for a nice crisscross diagonal kind of a layout. But I want to see what Mikey is up to. I'm really curious to know what he's doing. And I have a feeling he's going to do something much more creative and interesting. So let's pop over there and see how we're going. Oh my goodness, already. I love this.
So I've been using Adobe Express every single day since I started doing these little live sessions. So as I'm going around, I'm kind of finding these cool little quirky things that we can do. And what I'll show you now is you were just talking about text, which I think is great. Using that dynamic text thing is fantastic. But I'll just bring your attention to this little cool bit here. Obviously, Lewis Hamilton, great British Formula One racer. And I put the text in, copied it directly from a quote here. I put the text in, it came up white. I hit dynamic because I wanted that kind of stretchy letters, all this different shapes and sizes. I thought that was cool. But then as I was scrolling down, I was like, I wonder what effects there are. And I'm looking at these effects, balloon, gemstones, nothing that really makes me feel like, oh, this is kind of related to racing or Lewis Hamilton. So I thought, let me just, it says, look, tell me what sort of thing you're looking for, it says. So I type in here, listen, something to do with tires. And it didn't do anything for a few seconds. And then it brought up, look at these. I can just change any of these and it will change my text into essentially tire material. It takes a little second. I guess the little AI robots in the back have got to do their thing.
Wow, so you're getting completely custom text and it's on brand, so to speak.
Exactly. Custom text on brand, and all I had to do was just type in a single word there. And if I don't like any of these, which I do, I like them all. If I don't like any of these, I can just load more. I tell you, this website is fantastic.
Yes, this is crazy. We're living in the future, aren't we?
We are. Look at some of these. Fantastic. So now I'm going to quickly put in another picture. I saved a couple of pictures. I have one right here in my saved folder. And rather than going through the rigmarole of media upload from my device, another little cheat for you here, I'm just going to drag that straight in. And there it is. It appears right there. But as you can see, it's got that nasty white background I don't want. And this is another cool feature I like about Adobe Express. One click and the background is magically gone.
Perfect. Look at that.
The amount of hours I've spent on PowerPoint with that remove background feature, removing little bits. One click, and look at that. It's all gone. I think I'm going to add a race car.
It just seems unfair, doesn't it? It's just like cheating.
These other ones have got to catch up a little bit. I'm going to add a race car, and then I think my first one's done. I'm going to move on to Mo Farah.
Oh, just like that. Well, I really like the way you're diagonally dividing up the space and then using the entire square for one person, one quote, and then being able to use multiple images of that person for the layout. This works really, really well. Cool. I would say it's a lot more dynamic. That's a great word. A more dynamic layout. Anytime you use diagonals and anytime you use asymmetry, right, for balance, it really kind of works in your favor, and it just makes it a lot more interesting for the viewer. So nice stuff. Anybody out there who wants to try this kind of layout, go for it. Get experimental. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll pop back over here to where I am, and let's see here. We've got our layout. We've got Wynton. I want to take this photo right here, and I want to swap it out, change it for a Christian Robinson picture, upload from my device. If you're not familiar with Christian Robinson, he is a tremendous, amazing author and artist living in California, San Francisco area. His background's amazing. He grew up with 6 siblings with his grandma in a one-room apartment in Los Angeles, and became one of the world's most renowned picture book artists and authors. And he focuses on the importance of representation in picture books, especially. And the quote I selected from him, which I think is a great one representing what he does, is, "Picture books are like many children's first introduction to the world. Seeing yourself is almost like a message. It's saying, you matter, you are visible, and you're valuable. And I think that's beautiful. So that's what I'm going to use for Christian. And I've got some really nice photos of him. Got a shot of him here, which I thought might be good if I was going to do a layout where I would include some type underneath or something like that. This is the photo that came from. I simply used remove background in Express, super easy, and saved separate photo. Here we have a Winton again, pardon me. And then here is one of Christian's drawings. Now, the way he works is a combination of painting and collage. So he'll paint a big area on paper, and then he'll use scissors or an X-Acto knife and cut out different parts of the illustration and then glue them down and sometimes paint on top of that. And it's this additive process that he does with the paint, with the cutting, with the gluing. And it's really a timeless look. And I really, really love it. I especially love that you can see the evidence of the work of the hands and of the textures of the paint and so on, all the materials in the work. I'm a personal fan of Snowy Day by Ezra Jack Keats. Some of you may know that picture book. And a lot of that inspired Christian's work, which is a lot of this kind of collage work, which is really gorgeous. And there he is with a painting that he did. I love that he painted on the wall. And then he's gone and painted, or you may not be able to see these, I'm sorry. Let me just bring this over so you can see it. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up 1 second. Here we go. I want you to see this painting because this is the kind of thing he does I think is so clever. He paints on the wall behind him with the polar bear, and then he also paints on the desk where he's sitting so that it looks like the polar bear's arms are there.
Very cool.
Really cool, yeah. But he's really just an amazing guy. So there's Christian Robinson. And now, of course, again, I want to simply remove this photo. And then I want to do another quote. Now, here's what's great. I can take this first quote that I made, and I can simply duplicate it. If you look over here under the word text, there is an icon that says duplicate. When you hover over it, it's got 2 squares with a plus. I just tap that once, and then I can simply drag this over here like so. And now I've got my second quote ready to go. And all I have to do is replace that type with the other quote, remembering that it's still going to be dynamic because I have that being set. So I'll just go over here to my Christian Robinson quotes, and picture books are like many children's first introduction to the world. Go ahead and I'm going to copy that, and then coming back to Express, just select all that text, and I'm going to hit Control V or Command V, and there it is. So it's filled that space very nicely. I have room for each of their names, and that's the only thing I need to add here. And of course, if I want to, I can start to call out important words in the text if I wish. I can play with colors and things like this. So I could leave it black, but I think it's fun to do this. I like to take the text, and here where you have options for the fill color, I can tap on fill and use the eyedropper tool. So if you're not familiar with the eyedropper tool, what this allows you to do, if I tap on it, is I can move anywhere in my document and I can select color from the document. Now, I'm sure you can't actually see my eyedropper right now, but give this a try yourselves and you'll see how it works. You're able to move throughout the document. And so I'm going to select the blue from Winton's sports coat here. And I know it's a subtle change, but that allows me then to have this no longer be black. It's a slightly lighter color, and it's in keeping with that color there for his jacket. If I want to make it lighter, I can, again, select the fill color, go here, and I can even come to a lighter blue and select that color if I wish. There we go. A little lighter. Excellent. All right. And then if I want, certain words to stand out, then I could do that, or certain lines even. Okay. So maybe I like these top 2 lines as a bigger chunk being a different color. So I could make those black, and you could go back and forth like that. And you can even call out just one individual word, up to you. All right. So how you doing over there, Mikey?
Good. Yeah. Just tinkering away. I think my...
Oh, you've got a car there, I see. There's a car.
Yep. I was trying to delete this text, but every time I grab on it, it deletes one letter at a time, but then I remember on the part that I want to delete and just hit delete, it removes it. So that's pretty cool. And then, yeah, I've just added a car. I think I'm about ready to make a start on my second one. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Looking forward to animating it. I like the idea that you had about changing parts of the font. So I did think about maybe making twice as strong and just making that fill color just black.
That's a good idea.
The dropper is always good as well. You get to choose where you want, what color you want, which is quite cool as you move it around. Maybe I could use the font from the color from the car. Yeah, lots of options there.
Very nice. That car is going to be fun to animate. Yeah. And I am excited to see how people respond to the animation, because again, it is so simple to do. So I'll bounce back over to mine here, and I'll just grab a little bit of color from this photo, which I know, again, is difficult for everybody to see what I'm doing with the color here, because you can't see my eyedropper tool. And that's just a function of what happens when we try and use the eyedropper tool and we're doing a live stream. It won't track the mouse movement for that for some reason. I don't know why.
Interesting.
But yeah, we discovered that yesterday. But I've selected color from Christian's shirt there, and I've got ahead and added that. All right, now, last thing remaining for me to do here, I can, of course, call out, you are visible and you are valuable, and I can change that color so it's looking good. And then I can just add their names. Now for that, I want to use a different font. I think that'd be nice. So I'll say add your text. And we'll first type Wynton Marsalis. Now, I have a story about Wynton Marsalis, just to explain what an amazing, wonderful person Wynton Marsalis is. When I was a senior in high school, 18 years old, he came to visit our school and talked to us about a little bit of the history of music, talked to us about jazz, and talked about his own childhood. And at one point, he pulled out his trumpet and said he wanted to demonstrate what a wah mute is. And he had not brought with him a wah mute. Now, for those of you who don't know, the wah mute or wah mute for trumpet is a mute that you hold in your hand and you place it over the bell end of the trumpet. Okay, and when you do that, you can mute the sound or change the sound of the trumpet. So it's a way of adjusting the sound, and you can make a sound like a wah 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 when you move the mute.
Nice.
Now, he did not bring one with him, and he said, "Well, never mind. I guess I won't do it." Now, a friend of mine, although today he was not a friend. Eric Wong, I'll never forget. I was wearing at the time boat shoes, which are shoes you just slip on. He reached down and grabbed one of my shoes and slid it across the stage to Wynton. The seniors were allowed to sit on stage while Wynton was presenting to the school. I was mortified. I was so embarrassed. I didn't think that was a nice thing to do. I also thought it was disrespectful. Wynton Marsalis, being the kind of guy he is, looked over, saw my embarrassment, saw what had happened, and instead of making a scene or doing anything, he picked up my shoe and used it as a wah mute.
Wow.
And played his trumpet. And then he walked over and handed it back to me and said, "That worked out great, whatever." And so after the presentation, I went up to him to apologize and said, "Well, was it me? This guy Eric who took my shoe off?" He said, "Don't worry about it. I know what high school's like." And we rolled with it, and it was cool. And he gave me a handshake, and I'll never forget that for the rest of my life. What an absolute gentleman, amazing person. So
amazing.
In addition to just being, we're probably the greatest trumpet player alive. But all right. So Wynton Marsalis, there he is. Let's go ahead and look at our recommended. Okay, this is really cool. I can look at all these different options. Let's see. Let's see how that looks. I'm looking for a little contrast from what I have in the dynamic text, okay? So something like this might work, or something like this might work. Either way, I want something that's italicized. Okay, I think this is quite nice. If I size that down and just place it here, I think that works nicely. And I can also use a different color to highlight that. So I can go over here to the colors right here under fill. And I can do a custom color. And again, I'm going to use that handy dandy eyedropper tool. And I think I'm going to just select maybe from the background this one of these gray values. That's a little too light maybe, but I can adjust it right here. Very nice. And there I have that ready to go. And I'll just go ahead and, again, like we did before, duplicate that. Okay, just duplicate that, drag it over here, align it with the quote. And we're just going to put in Christian Robinson's name. Christian Robinson. And there you go. And that's the design down for me. I know it's a very simple one, but that's okay. You know, this is a simple, easy peasy layout. Everybody can roll with this and go for it. And you're working from a template to get things kickstarted. And if you want to get more creative, of course, you can. Speaking of getting creative, I have a feeling, Mikey, you're probably doing something a little more interesting.
I'll be honest with you. I think your simplicity, I prefer your simplicity actually for my head. This is just me being like, there's so many things you can do with this website that it just excites me to try everything. What that often means is that I just end up with a bit of a mess. You know, for example, like I have that diagonal line across my square, and I know that that diagonal line with the text running over it doesn't make it look the cleanest. So yeah, of course, have a little play, have a little fun with it and stuff. But I like the crispness of yours.
I see. But I think that's part of isn't that part of the design process, don't you think, is that whole, you try something and then it's learning what does and doesn't work, but you have to try it first in order to know. It's better to experiment. And the great thing about working digitally is it's working in a digital environment like this, it's endlessly flexible and endlessly reversible, unlike working with real materials.
Yes, exactly.
You glue something down, it's glued, but you know, with Express, not such a big problem. You can undo.
You just hit that back button and you're out of there. Yeah, no worries.
Right, and that's a relief for most of us whenever we're doing any kind of project. All right, but I think yours is looking very nice. And now, who is the second person you mentioned for today?
So I'm going to do Mo Farah, who is a British long distance runner. Here's Mo Farah here. So first thing I'm going to do is make a couple of saves of images. I really like this one. Just a quick name, MF. And then maybe find another one. I always like this picture. I remember this picture from...
That is such a famous photo. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to find something a little bit more serious because I like the love heart one up above. So we'll probably go with this one, MH2. That means I've got my pictures. And actually, before we shoot back to your screen, so I'm going to duplicate this, as you know, in that top corner, and you'll talk more about it in a second. But we had some trouble at the beginning, if I remember correctly, with swapping the image out. And I accidentally, while trying to put my race car in, discovered that if I want to bring up Mo Farah and I hover that over the picture that's already there, oh no, didn't quite work this time. Let's try it again. 1 second. Let's see if it was maybe a glitch in the matrix or something. But I'm pretty sure
we're learning a magic trick here. We're learning a magic trick.
If you look, see how that tile turned gray?
Yes.
It swaps it.
No way. Look at that.
Isn't that cool?
How convenient. And remove the background.
Even takes the background out.
That's crazy.
Now I'm missing his arm, so I'll have to do a little bit of cropping there. But yeah, so many cool little tricks.
Cropping is something I think we need to explain to people because it's a really cool thing to be able to do. You can have your photo, but you can have the photo contained within a shape. And it doesn't just have to be a rectangular shape. You can crop it in a circle and all kinds of shapes. I'll pop over here quickly to my screen just to demo.
Good, because I don't know how to do that.
It's really cool. So if I bring in a photo, all right, to my design, let's just go ahead and I'll go to media, upload from device. Now let's say that I bring in another picture. Okay, we'll bring in Winton here. There he is. All right, now I like this photo. It's great. Maybe though I want to do something with the shape that contains the photo. Here's what you do. You just tap on crop and it's located here under that option to remove background. So you select the photo, tap on crop, and look at this. You've got basic shapes here, which are simple and easy, but you've even got special shapes like so. So if I want to, I can select this circle, okay? And then I can move Winton into the circle. I can enlarge the photo, okay? Like so, and just place him in that circle. I can crop down a little ways, like so. And then when I tap anywhere else on my design, you'll see the result of that crop. Now, the next time I
Fantastic.
tap on it, I can move it wherever I like, and it will remember that I cropped it. And not only that, but I can, from the corners, resize it, and it still keeps it cropped as it should be. Pretty nice. So here, for example, if I had maybe nothing but Wynton Marsalis quotes on this design, and maybe I wanted to just have a little Wynton here in the middle, another Wynton over here, I could have a layout like this where I have a cropped picture, etc. All right. And there you go. So that's how you crop an image, and it's a pretty effective thing. And you can even get fancy with it and do some tricks where if you have a picture that has a lot of texture in it, maybe you just have a background texture, you could crop it into a shape and use that as a design element in your design. It doesn't have to be something literal. It could just be something decorative. So there you go.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we'll get rid of that for now. We don't need that little Winton photo. We've got a good one right here. But I'm ready to move on to another design. I'd like to try something a bit more experimental, a bit more interesting, and then we can move on to making some movies. And I know that you're progressing with your Mo Farah, and the cool thing is that you've just gone ahead and used the same layout and swapped out the quotes and the name and the photos, just like that.
Yep. There's a couple of things that I wanted to change from this one actually. If I bring back to my initial Lewis Hamilton one, you'll see that I'm using the colors that the car has on them. So that green and that sort of gray and that black color. But for my Mo Farah one, I want to, oh, there we go. I don't think the tires, although it does run about as fast as a car, I don't want the tires, so I'll change that font in a second. But you talked about the zaggedy lines and the things like that. Actually, it's just two shapes: a rectangle up here, a rectangle down here, and a triangle in the corner here. And I've locked them because what happens is sometimes when I put them in the background, I end up accidentally moving them. So I'm going to click on that layer, and then at the top here, I'm going to unlock them. So that means now I can access my three different shapes. So if I want to make this, I also grouped them together. So I'll have to ungroup them, which I can do somewhere. Oh, maybe we'll have to come back. I'll have to figure out how to ungroup them. Do you have any idea?
Oh yeah. So let's see. You've actually clicked into the group right now. So the little arrow above your layer stack on the right, there's a little arrow facing there. If you click on that, and now click on the group just once, and then you can ungroup it.
Look at that.
There you go.
This is why you're leading the session right now. Thank you very much. There we go. So I've ungrouped them. Now I can select my large triangle, which is this one here. You can see it moving now. It's just a triangle. I've hidden half off the screen. And then I want to make that the same colors as the Union Jack perhaps for this time. So I'll go with like perhaps a red for this time. I'll take my little color dropper and I'll choose the red from the side of his jersey there. And there you go. Changes that color. I'll change the other two shapes as well.
I can see your color dropper, but not mine. You know what I realized? I just figured something out. I'm glad we did this. I'm sharing a tab and you're sharing the entire Safari window or Chrome window.
Yeah. So then I share my screen so you can see my tabs and stuff.
There it is. Okay, gotcha.
I could share this as well, yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Gotcha. So I'm going to crack on with this and let you.
Sure.
I'm interested to see your creative juices flowing as well.
Sure. I'll go ahead and I'll do another quick design here. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this. Okay. Now you've seen that you just can tap on view all pages, right? Or you can add a page. I'm going to just view all pages and right here, tap on duplicate page. Now I've got a second page to work from and I'll double click on that. And now I can work with it. So I'm going to keep this quote, okay, but I'm going to do a single design just for Wynton Marsalis. So I'm going to get rid of this photo. We don't need that. And we don't need this quote right here. But if I take this, this Wynton photo and we make it a bit larger. Here we go. And I'm going to place it off here to the left, and I'm even going to have his elbow pop off a little bit. It's always good to play with the borders of your composition. A lot of people always want things to fit inside, but it's actually good to break up that space. Now, I really want to test, whoops, let's see here. I've got to get on that crop because I want to change the cropping so it actually shows the whole picture. There we go. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to just delete that because it's trying to take that photo and it's working with the template. So if I just go ahead and upload that same photo now on its own, so it's not being in any way cropped, then I should be in good shape. So is this the one I want? There it is. There we go. All right, I'm going to take that, make it a little bigger. We're going to pop that elbow a little bit off the edge there, as I mentioned a moment ago. Very nice. And let's test the limits of remove background. This background is not all one color, okay? It's got a pattern to it, a texture to it, but we'll try it anyway and see if the app can handle it. Let's see what happens. Very nice comment, by the way. Look at that. Holy cow, it did it perfectly. Perfectly.
So quickly as well.
That is something else. I love it. All right. So, yeah, great. All right. So here's our quote. That looks nice. I'm going to go into my elements. Okay. And I'm going to, for design assets, just search for voice. See what comes up. All right. So I was going to see if maybe there would be a voice bubble of some kind. Maybe if I tap speech bubble. So now we have these different options that pop up. Okay. I had to find the right terminology, didn't I? Actually, I really like this shape, even though it's not really a speech bubble. I just like that shape. So I'm going to make that shape a little bigger. Pop it over here. And then from the top right, I can drag down and make it so that that layer winds up beneath some of the other layers. Okay. And we're just going to position Winton about there. And we'll take this shape, and I'm going to use the arrow keys on my keyboard to get really, really picky about where I place that. And then I'm going to change that color. I'm going to use my, for that image, I'm going to use effects. Okay, if you're not familiar with effects and adjustments, you can, using a duotone, change the color of an image. So I'm going to just tap, oh, if I tint it right here, it's actually getting exactly where I want it to be, which is similar to the color of the trumpet. That's kind of what I was going for. Very nice. And we'll take Wynton Marsalis and we'll make that a little darker. We'll go ahead and use a custom color. Back towards these blues from his suit. There we go. All right, so now I've got the quote, I've got Wynton, feels a bit more like sort of a poster kind of a layout. And right here, I might want to just put a little something, another photo of his. I think that might be nice. So let's go ahead and again, go to our media, upload from device, and let's see what I have here. I've got that one, that's kind of nice. And we have this one where he looks very serious. And you know, that one actually I really like as well. Kind of tempted to work with that. But maybe we want something like this. That might work nicely. Let's try that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this photo and I'm going to, under, again, effects, make it grayscale. So that means I'm taking all the color out, right? I could even tint it. This tinting is actually kind of nice right there. And you can adjust it by tapping on the intensity right here. So I can really pull that up so it's really heavily tinted. Now here's the trick you can do with anything, a design element of any shape or anything else, photo. You can reduce the opacity, which means the see-through-itness of it, the transparency of it. So I'm going to knock that way, way back to 40%. Okay. And I'll take this photo and drag it on down behind everything else. And we're going to make it really, really big. We're going to place it down here. I'm trying to make it big enough so you can really see his eyes and still have him be part of the thing, part of the photo there. So ideally, I would have to have that probably in a different layout. What I could do is I could take the photo here, slide it over here, take this photo, slide it over here, since it is a photo of him with his face up in the top left. Okay, and then take the little quote box there, drag it down here, and then maybe take that quote, drag it down. Whoops, take the quote, drag it down, move it like that. You could do, I like how you locked it earlier. That was really clever, locking an element.
Yeah.
I think that's something I should probably do with Winton here. You can tap on it and just go ahead and lock it right here. Now I can reformat that a bit, and then boom, just plop that right there. Things like this are really fun. You can start playing around with the way you use the layout, the way you use different photos, the way you use different effects. So there's probably more I would do with this to try and make it really pop and make it really work. But I'm starting to get interested in trying some different kinds of layouts that are more exciting, more interesting, more dynamic. If we had more time, we'd keep going, but I do want to make sure we get to the movement of things, the animation of things. So let's take a look at your design. I love that there's a medal there. Beautiful.
Had to be. There we go. One of our greatest long distance runners from the UK. So I think that's it for my 2. I think I had 3 actually in the end because I duplicated a little bit early, so I can just delete that one. And that's it. My 2 British Black History Month inspirational people. I'm pleased with this one. I could probably do with making that text a little bit smaller. I like the way it jumps around a little bit as you move it. Does this, as it's rightly called, being dynamic there. I might even move that up there in sort of keeping with the theme of the Mo Farah one.
Oh, nice. Yeah, nice.
But otherwise, I think they're pretty much done. And see, this is where I get a little bit finicky, you know.
That's a problem. Whenever we're presented with these opportunities to demo, the challenge is always to balance our own instincts as designers to make everything look just so and make it look good and rearrange and so on, with actually getting across all the info. And it's a balancing act, isn't it?
And one little trick I learned today, actually, you know, rather than going up here and switching between the 2, is just to hit the slide and it moves it along. I think I had a 6 or 7 piecer up today, which was nice. I could just switch through the group of them. But yeah. Oh, and I like your little tip there about the elbow, because when I had him too close, like he was running into his own armpit. So I've moved him. I don't mind losing a bit of elbow. What did you say? Did there break up a bit the space there?
It does. It's nice. And it really helps to break up the space, and it's just another element of design. You can use those angles of the body and everything else. It really works nicely. Well, I love the way it turned out. I'm going to pop over to mine for a moment here and just quickly start adding some animation. And when I say quickly, I mean it, because it is really, really easy. So for this design, being as simple as it is, I'm just going to show you some easy ways to add a bit of pop. Okay. So first things first, I'm going to animate in the photos. Okay. So with this first photo, if I tap over here on animation, all right, we have animating in options, animating for looping, and animating out. Animating in means something animates into the picture. If something is looping, it means it's in a looping state of animation. So something that will continue to loop or repeat as long as it's on screen. And then animating out is the opposite of in. Whatever you have as an element on the screen will animate out of the picture in some way and basically vanish. So I'm going to animate in with our friend Winton here. And look at all these options. We got 12 different options that I could use, okay? Some are silly, some are more sophisticated. I think for, you know, given the subject matter and everything for today, I should certainly not do anything too silly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have him either fade in or drift in or something like this. Now, if you look at drift right here, it'll give me a preview of what that looks like. So he slides right into place. Very nice. I think I'll select that, okay? I'll skip the tour right here. We don't need that. All right, now, the moment I add any animation or movement, the layout in Express will change to include now, you'll see down here what's called a timeline. And this timeline is showing me the duration of my now movie, okay, from start to finish. And it's automatically given me a 5-second movie, all right? Now, if I hit play on the little playhead here, you'll see how things are going to look so far. Okay, very nice. Now, easiest thing to do, go ahead and with Christian, just use the animation, animate in. I'm going to do the same thing here, drifting, but look at this. You can change the direction of the drift, up, down, left, right. So I'll have him drift in from the right. Very nice. All right, so now if we look at our play, I'll do play. They drift in from the left and the right. Now, you can also change when these things happen, okay? So, for example, with Winton, all right, I can, if I tap right down here at the bottom on Show Layer Timing, it's a little small, so you have to look for it here. If I toggle that on by tapping on the little white circle, look at this. Now I can see Winton's photo here on its own separate timeline. And if I tap here and drag from either the left or the right, I can control when over the course of the movie he will appear. So I'm going to have Winton start things off because he's in the top left, all right? But if I tap over here on Christian, I'm going to have him come in a little later. So I'll have him slide in after about maybe 2 seconds or so, okay? Now if I hit play, watch what happens. There's Winton, it waits, and then Christian comes in. So that's quite nice. That way you can divide it up. Now you can do things with the text as well. So for each of these, I can animate them in some fashion. So for the jazz quote for Wynton Marsalis, once again, I simply scroll down to where it says animation. And I'll have this animate in, but I'll have it do it in a different way. Anytime you hover over these options, you're going to see what happens. You have it grow. You can change that to be slow, fast. I like this one. I'm going to have it shrink into place, but I'll have it happen slowly. So here I can extend the duration. Okay. There we go. And you even have a personality. It's an interesting word, isn't it, for animation? Energetic, soft, smooth, etc. I think soft is what I want, something that isn't so bouncy. Okay. And then in it goes. And then for his name, I can even animate that separately. So why not do that? We'll just go ahead and go to animation again. Have that animate in some interesting way. We can have it rise up. Very nice. There it goes. And we can have that go slowly or more quickly. And we can also, remember, adjust when that comes in. Okay. So I'll just go ahead and make that happen after about 1 second or so. So let's scroll back. Now, if you tap on your playhead, that's what this is called, you can actually grab it and you can scrub is the word, scrub through your animation and see how it's all coming together. Pretty cool, right? So I'm almost done in just a matter of a couple of minutes with adding animation. All I've got left is Christian's quote and his name. So I simply grab it and we go to animation, animate in. We'll do the same thing we did for Winton, which is to have it shrink in place and then have it be a little bit less abrupt. We'll use the soft personality, and I'll have that come in a little later, just after Christian's photo appears. Okay. And finally, under the name Christian Robinson here, last little bit of animation, animate that in. We'll have that rise as we did with Winton's name and just have that appear just a little bit after the quote right there. And now if I just go all the way back to the beginning and hit play, this is where things are. Excellent. Now, I'm going to stop for a moment and see, Mikey, how are you doing over there?
Yeah, good. Yeah, so I've extended my video out here to about 10 seconds, which you can do just by hitting your I don't have all the technical names, so feel free to shout the vocabulary at me. But whatever this big bit is at the bottom, I've made it a little bit longer.
I would just say movie.
There we go. So I've made my movie time a little bit longer.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty easy now, actually. I've added all my animations. I'm ready to give you a little show before I add some music, if you're up for it.
Let's see it.
All right, here we go.
Oh, a little flicker. I like that. And then it drops in. Very nice. Oh, and then the car. I like that. I like that. The car comes in and then it also goes away. So you've animated the car in and out.
Yeah, I added an animation in and out for my car, which we can't see anymore because it's there we go. So my animation for that is here. Slide in, slide out. The duration, maybe I could make that a little bit longer. Who knows? It might make it look a bit cooler. And I also realize a small mistake I think I've made with my. There we go. I think
right.
Lewis Hamilton sort of disappeared at the end, so I've just stretched that out there as well. So hopefully, I'm also not very happy with this animation, so I'll tinker a little bit more and then add some music.
That's right. So that was my next step. I was just going to add some music to mine, and then try and do a little animation with that second design, or maybe fine tune that a bit so it looks a little nicer.
Sounds good.
But let's see here. So where we left off, I have a very simple animation. Everyone pops in and come their quotes, and that's pretty much the whole thing. So now we need a little bit of music for this. And of course, with the music, you would use a search term for what I would describe as the personality, again, of the music, the mood of the music. Think of adjectives that would describe what it is you're looking for. So if I go over to media, I can pop up here to the top where we have photos, videos, and audio. Click on, you have your little search bar. All right, so for this, let's see. Let me try. I'm first going to say quiet because I think, oh, we didn't find anything. Well, that's interesting. No quiet sounds? That can't be possible.
Seems. What about chill or something, or?
Yeah, chill.
Jazz.
Cinematic. Let me try that. Now, if I hit play, let me know if you hear this. All right, cool. So that's coming through. That sounded quite nice. Let me see what else we have here. Slow down, fantastic world loop, sunny day, epic cinematic. That sounds a bit too crazy. Arabian Sands. What does that sound like? That's a bit too upbeat. Summer chill. Nah. All right, so lots of options here. I do like that first one we had. What was that again? That was up here. Inspiration cinematic. I think that's pretty suitable. I think that it's quiet. It's not going to get in the way. It's not going to take center stage. So if I want to add it, all I do is I tap on this part of the music file. I don't tap on the play button. That's just to test what it sounds like. You just tap right here on the title, and you'll see what it does. It adds it to your movie, but what's really cool is it actually automatically will trim it to the length of the movie that you currently have. So you're not stuck having to crop out a whole bunch of music and edit it down. All right, the other great thing is once you've added it, if you don't want people to say, that's too loud, because usually the music is brought in quite loud, you can change the volume here. So I'll just drop that down to about 60%. It's not offensively loud. And we'll move our playhead back to the beginning. And now let's see how that feels. Very nice. All right. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to, in addition to this having just a little motion and everything, I need to introduce it in some way or conclude it in some way. Okay. So it's fine the way it is just for a little one-off, but I think it'd be nice to sort of maybe have some kind of an ending image or video. And to do that, I can add a scene. So if I just tap add scene, it's going to be still one movie, but I can now design something else to fill that space. And so I do want to call out what we're talking about here for Black History Month. And I want to put some type in here and just have it be a sort of footnote. So we have main content and then a little closing piece. Okay. And so for that, I'm just going to design a little something for that. And so I'll start working on that and then maybe pop it over to you, Mikey, and see how you're doing over there.
Sounds good. Actually, I'm going to follow along with this piece because I haven't done an ad scene yet, so I'm going to do the same. Oh, do you fancy
Okay.
having a
No, do you want to
look at my video so
Yeah, I'd
far?
like to see what you've got there. Sure, let's take a look at that.
All right.
I really like this layout.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Ooh. Moody.
That's good. And it really, don't you feel like that quote it makes you feel like, emboldened and there's strength behind it. And so that music is well suited for that.
And I tried to time the music for the drop as well. Let's see if it worked. I had to just kind of guess where it was. Maybe you have a bit of a better technique for it, but see if it works.
Oh, you nailed it.
Did I nail it?
It's right on the drop, isn't it?
Fantastic. I don't like this tire track text anymore, so I'm just going to go with a nice white font.
Sure. Just go for something simple and bold. That's fine.
Change it as you want, right?
That's the beautiful thing. Again, digital art, endlessly flexible, endlessly reversible.
2 buttons and a nice crisp text font there.
Excellent.
So I'm going to follow along now with your adding a scene, if that's cool.
Sure. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to use the photos again, and I'm just going to do a different layout this time. The main thing I want to call out though is the title. So I'm going to start with my text and go over here to text, add your text. Now it'll automatically call up the most recent font I was using, but I'm not going to use that font. Okay. But for now, I'm just going to first type in Black History Month. Nice stack of 3. And then I'm going to, again, we can look at recommended fonts. That's always fun. See what we like. And being that it's a title, we want it to be fairly bold. We have, I kind of like this. That's kind of nice. You can also show more, and this will you just keep on going. And, actually, I know this is a little less bold, but I do like it. Also like this, although for titles, using a serif font can sometimes be difficult to read, especially if it's all caps. So sans serif is always a good choice. This is a sans serif typeface. This is a weird kind of partially serifed or half serif or something. But I have a feeling I can make this work. And what I'm going to try and do is I want to see what happens if I go to dynamic. I was hoping that would happen. That justification, I think, is quite nice. I'm going to see if I can, though, maybe fake it and do my own justification, because if I tap off of it, the word history, even though it is mathematically justified, it is not visually justified, and there is a difference. So I could probably do a better job of justifying this visually myself. Text, we'll go to default. And I'm going to try a couple of things. One, I'll increase the size here of the word black. And then I will tap on text spacing right here. And look at this. You can increase and decrease.
That's great.
Text spacing, okay. So you want to be careful, if you pull the spacing out too far, of course, you start to get into a situation where something becomes less legible. That's not good. You want to be able to read it. And then for the word history, I might go ahead and pull that letter spacing in just a hair. Okay. And then for month, and here I'm gonna start getting so picky. Oh, we don't want to do this, do we? We're gonna blow up Mikey. I'm gonna get really, really picky. So I'll tell you what, instead of doing all that, I will go ahead and use dynamic for now, but just know that if I were designing the right and try and fix that because I really want it to be perfecto.
I can
But
only
for
imagine. I'm the same.
in the that's fine. We're in the interest of time, we'll just snap it for now and we'll keep this here. All right, so there it is. Now I want to have my two figures, my two heroes for this piece showing up in some fashion. Maybe one on the left, one on the right, or something like that. Although I might just keep it really simple and have a circle using that crop that we did earlier, because I think that's something everyone should try. I'll make this a bit smaller. And we'll go ahead and let's do this. Let's grab a color using a element. So I'll go to my shapes and just use a very simple shape here, a rectangle. Okay. And I'm going to take that color. Let's see, fill color, custom color. And just use a nice bold color. And then I can take that shape and transform it like so. And I can duplicate it. Boom. Pop that down here in the bottom. Alrighty, and then I can use that little trick of having a photo in a cropped shape. So I'm going to go to my media, photos, upload from device. Now I've got all my nice photos here. Let's see what we have for Christian. I love that shot. Nice drawing. I know you guys can't see these, but hold them up here. I used the same photo I had for Christian before just because I really like it. There we go. And here comes that cropping trick. All right. We take the photo, we tap on crop, and then again, we have all these nice options, and I'll just make a circle. And center Christian in that circle more or less. Make him a bit bigger. There we go. And now when I tap off it, you can see what that looks like. So we're going to have Christian here, and I'm going to have that overlap a little bit. I'll zoom out so you can see. And I'll angle it slightly like this. There's Christian in one corner. And then I'm going to have Winton show up in the other corner. So if I just take this and duplicate it, you know the drill. All we have to do, rotate it the other way. Like so. All we have to do is swap out that photo. And here's that little option. I can upload from device. Got different Winton photos here. Got the nice one. We'll use that. And then there's Winton. I can go ahead and I can slide that photo over, make him fit a little more perfectly in that circle. There we go. And there's our pal Winton. And for each of these, if I want, I can use effects. So I can go here and I can tint, and I can double tap on the color right here and use a tint that is similar to this background color here. I can do the same thing with this photo. Just go to effects and tint it, same as that one. I'll take Black History Month, make that a little smaller, stick it right there in the center. And then I'll have their names pop in so we know what's going on. And that's pretty much it. Now, I don't know how you're doing over there, but I can pop over and see if you've got any changes, Mikey. Otherwise, I'll keep going here. Tell me what you want to do.
All right, yeah. So actually, I added the scene at the end, and then using the magical skills of duplication, I duplicated
that looks so good.
it and then added it to the back. So I just took a picture from here, Black History Month colors, trying to find a theme. Evidently, there is one from a few years ago.
Ah,
So I took
nice.
that theme. I used your opacity trick to make it a little bit less powerful at the back. I put one here, I duplicated it, and then I put one at the beginning. So my video opens and closes with the same image, and I'll play it for you now.
Let's see it. Nice. I love it. You've got, excuse me, you've got it bookended.
Bookended, so it opens and closes with the same thing, and then simply clicking this button and adding a transition, and it makes the whole thing a little bit smoother as they transition between the two. Apparently, let's see if that does work. Yeah, smooth a bit.
That works quite nicely.
Pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, I think that's working nicely. Now you've just inspired me to change my color palette.
Okay.
I didn't realize that there were these good colors we could use that are semi-official, I guess, right?
Yep.
So now I've gone ahead and changed, I'm changing up my color palette here, which again, so easy, so fast to do, right? Requires basically, 2 minutes of work. And all I have to do now is animate in their names, all right? But in the interest of time, we'll leave that bit out. I want to see how we're doing if I just scroll back here and just watch the whole. Yeah, we got their names animated right there. Boom. Now this little last bit can be a little shorter, and then you can even take a scene and you can adjust it by clicking and dragging and popping it in front of the other scene. Very easy. So I can just change the orders. I think it'd be better maybe for me to introduce these guys with the title card, and then have it play in, and then have the quotes on that, and then maybe have some kind of an ending as well. But yeah, I think this is the best thing about this is how easy it is. Right? Oh, you're muted. You're muted right now, Mikey. Sorry. Let's see.
Good. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, remarkably easy, right?
Yeah, and I love that, if you do have a static design that you really like, you've made a little graphic design that if you feel so inclined, you can simply make it move. Now, when you've done this, okay, if you have, as we've done now, two versions of this, right? We have an animated version, we have a movie version of our design, but we also have a still image. The cool thing about this is if I go over here and look at my pages, okay, I've got one that is a static design, I've got this one, and what I can do is I can save them separately as different file types. So if you want to save as an image, for example, this one, if I want to save it just as a static image, then I go to download, and it's going to give me options for the kind of file I want. Most often I'm going to use a PNG, but you do have other options here, you can see, okay? And by saving that, it's just going to pop it right into my downloads folder at a high resolution, and we're good to go. And for the movie, we just pop over to the left here. Here's my little animated file. With this, it's going to save it as an MP4, which is an animated movie. So if I go to download, you'll see we have the option to save it. And for resolution, you're going to want to have, in this case, it's a square. You just use it as the original size, but you do have other options, 720p and 1080p, and even 4K, which is extremely high resolution we probably don't need.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
If I add these fantastic, let's be honest, videos to my social media, am I going to get in trouble for using this music?
That's a great question, Mikey. I think not. I think these are licensed for that purpose, and I think you're good to go. I'm not a lawyer, but that's my guess. And the last thing we'll leave you with is if you want to simply share a link to your work, you can do that by tapping on share. And here you can publish to web. Now, by doing that, you just tell Express that you want to publish a link. And when you do that, it'll generate a unique URL, and you can copy and paste that and email it to the world or put it on a website or do whatever you like. And people can link to your work and they can see it in their browser. And Mikey, that does it for us. Looks like we're out of time. I hope everybody enjoyed following along. We have some nice comments. Thank you very much. From the Philippines, in fact, somebody watching along. Very cool. And we hope everybody else enjoyed it. And remember, you can always watch these back. They're recorded. And yeah, that's all there is. It's great. It's simple. It's easy. It's fun to design and express. And I hope you learned a lot today.
Yes. Thanks for joining. I had a great time, actually. It's 9:45 p.m. I think I might even still do a little bit more work on Adobe Express here.
It is. It's fun. Now, don't let it interfere with your sleep, though.
For sure.
All right. Well, thanks again, everybody. And Mikey, thank you so much. Real pleasure working with you. And hope to do so again soon. Everybody take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Remember to be kind. And we'll say ciao for now. Everyone take care.
Bye-bye.
All right.